30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're fired up at our new digs, the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, which is beautiful. If you have never come out here before, you need to soon. By the way, anytime you want to come and watch our show, you're welcome to. We'll have a big announcement tomorrow during the show where I'll let this piece of the cat out of the bag. We are going to use this beautiful facility, draft picks, to do something I'm very excited about. Dawned on me during the open that we may have to change it at some point. Watson Brown had enough of me, and for 3 months he asked for a respite. Actually, he's going to play a lot of golf, do a lot of vacationing, and lo and behold, look at what the cat has drug in. We say hello to the one and only Kelly Holcomb, who joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, Jorge. How you doing?
Good. Well, we got you on. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign. I'm not as technically bad as you are, but I'm not much better.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody is as bad as I am. You know, I was thinking back earlier, Kelly, the first time you and I ever met,
yep,
I had just gone to work at 104.5. As you remember, my lawsuit is what created that station.
Yes, exactly.
And what I remember, you came in as a guest, and we were 15 minutes into an interview. We go to a break, and you start dogging me. And 20 years later, nothing's changed.
No, nothing's changed, man. I tell people I came out of the womb dogging people. I can remember I got on one guy so bad in college with some shoes that he wore that he never wore them again. He was so embarrassed. So I don't. Hey, if you know, if I'm doing that, that means I like you. It means I love you. You know, that's just the way it is. But I do remember that day because Jim Simpson actually, you know, he was over the Hall of Fame there in Murfreesboro. Yeah, Jim brought me because I had no clue where it was. I was still playing ball, and he brought me down there, and that was cool. Yeah, that was the first time we met. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that's been over 20 years ago.
Yeah,
you absolutely. And I have a picture, and I cannot find this dadgum thing. When you were with the Browns, you played a preseason game at Nissan.
Yep.
Then it was Adelphia or Bud Adams Stadium or whatever it was.
Seems like it changes every year.
Well, it has changed a couple of times. And you and I took a picture on the field. You were in your Cleveland Browns uniform, and I was in some free clothing.
Oh, you're always in free clothing. I can't believe you got that shirt on today. That's obviously a Knights of the Round Table shirt.
No,
I'm sure people are going to want to come to the Ford Ice Center to watch your show because of that.
No question. So you think you've got this under control? You don't appear to be nervous.
I mean, I know people love, you know, Watson. I know your guests love Watson. I'll try to win them over. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
You got big shoes to fill.
I do. I understand.
We're excited to have you. You and I have always talked about doing something together. Let me also say this. Kelly and I are part of the Middle Tennessee chapter of the National Football Foundation, and I do not appreciate whatsoever when I'm trying to MC a banquet and this guy dogs me. There's no reason for it.
I tell you what, though, you're getting really good at when we first started, you know, because we've been on, I was 15 years, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were on there before. Were you on there before me, I guess? Yeah. But it's been, we've got that thing down really good, you know, and I think if you look around the country, I've heard stories of other organizations, other foundations. They don't really do much. They'll have a lunch and they'll give guys a sandwich and some chips, and then they'll do that. But I think we put on a really good event. People really don't know. I mean, I know you and Mike Organ were trying to get some some stuff out there about it, because even the kids, the coaches, it's so hard for me to get the coaches involved. They don't want to sign the paperwork. They just send it to the kids. It's tough. And I have to send some bad texts, but over the years, I mean, the first time I went, I mean, that thing was like 3.5 hours, and kids don't want to, they have no clue what it is.
Nobody wants that.
We'd get everybody, and we'd give them like 5-10 minutes to speak. And then you get certain guys up there like Coach Donnelly. Coach Donnelly wants to talk all the time. And then, he thinks everybody wants to hear what he has to say. And that's just not true. So we've kind of summed all that down, and you've done I have to say it, as much as my heart pains me to say that you've done a really good job. You really have.
Well, we're off to a rousing start here.
You started it because I went to my daughter's game this year. She playing at Lipscomb, and
right.
Y'all started early. Y'all started like 6:45. So
right.
I rolled in, and I was going to sit in the car for like 15 minutes.
Right.
And then Wally texted me and said, "Hey, you're up."
Right.
And I'm like, good gracious.
And I
so
took
I'm putting my coat
shot.
Yeah, I'm putting my coat on when we're going. Yeah.
Billy, we had started the banquet a little bit earlier than normal because people just seemed to come in earlier than normal. And all of a sudden I see Kelly about 15 seconds before this rumble up to the stage. And I just said, "Kelly, nice of you to make it this evening."
I barely made it too. I'm telling you, I thought I was going to get to relax in the car for a few minutes.
Oh, no, there's no relaxing.
Well, you said you were going to do that. So you did. You got it started, which is good.
So Billy sort of organizes an update of things that have gone on. And from time to time, this update brings out some of the most cynical parts of me that there are, because there are stories out there that are hard to believe. Let's see if today does any of that.
Well, we're going to start with UConn last night. Kelly, I don't know how much of it you got to watch, but they dominated San Diego State 76-59, their fifth national title since 1999. They won their 6 tournament games by a combined 120 points. And they went 17-0 this year, George, against non-conference opponents. They won those 17 games by a combined 412 points. This might be the most dominant college basketball season of all time.
Kelly, I don't get it. They lost 6 out of 8 in a streak in January where everybody, including me, completely wrote them off. I don't get it.
It's basketball. It's just like any other sport. They just didn't play well. Don't know. And I'm like you, after watching them last night and after watching them in the tournament, it's kind of they're really good. They got guys that can shoot the ball. They've got all kind of game. They can go inside with 2 big guys who can dominate a game. They got shooters. They got dribble drivers. It's it was pretty exciting to watch. And the best thing for me was, even talking about both teams, George, was I love how both teams are really unselfish, and that comes from their coaches. UConn could go a different way and all those guys be selfish, but I think they bought into what Danny Hurley was talking about. And you look at San Diego State, that's a team that you would love to coach. They didn't have much firepower scoring wise, especially when they came up against a team that was just elite like UConn. But both those teams right there were very unselfish. And in today's world, that was really cool to see.
Yeah. So, Billy, did you stay up for one shining moment?
I didn't, but I saw it on Twitter this morning.
I did.
You did?
You're darn tootin' I did.
Wow. That's
a big moment. You want me to sing it?
No.
I didn't think so. No, I didn't think so.
We don't need that, George.
Do we have another item?
We do. The Preds last night, they fell to Dallas 5-1 on the road. They're back home tonight against Vegas, 7 o'clock puck drop. They currently sit in 10th place in the Western Conference standings. They trail Winnipeg by 5 for the 8th and final playoff spot with 6 games left.
So here's what it would take for this to get really hairy. Right now, it would take a 3-game winning streak. Beat Vegas tonight. And by the way, if they were to end up the 8th in 8th place, it's Vegas they would play. Or at least I think it is.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
They'd have to beat Vegas. God, I'm trying to think who they play Thursday night.
Carolina on Thursday.
Thank you, David. And then at Winnipeg Saturday. That's what it would take. Anyway, Vegas tonight at 7. What's next?
Todd McShay's new mock draft is next. David let me know that he released it this morning. We're going to rumble through it here. Number 1, Carolina taking C.J. Stroud. Number 2, Houston taking Bryce Young. Number 3, Indianapolis taking Anthony Richardson. Number 4, Arizona taking Will Anderson Jr. And number 5, Seattle taking Jalen Carter from Georgia. At 11, he's got the Titans taking Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State. The Vikings, he's got them taking Hendon Hooker at 23rd.
Watson had this one right when he said Hendon Hooker's going to fly up that board. He was right.
He's got the Texans taking Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee in the second round, second pick of that second round. And the Titans' second-round pick, he's got him taking Drew Sanders, an Arkansas linebacker. So that's what McShay's latest mock looks like.
Kelly, do you believe the Panthers have honestly decided on C.J. Stroud? Because I don't.
I think that Frank Reich likes bigger quarterbacks like that. That's the reason why I think that could happen. I think Bryce Young is one of those guys that he is just a bona fide ball player. He's a ball playing Jesse, as my college coach used to say. C.J. Stroud's the same way. Now, C.J. Stroud is not going to move around. He got really good pocket presence, got a really strong arm. But the reason that I think that's coming around is I think Frank Reich likes guys that will stay in the pocket, will manage his offense, and I think that's probably why that's because Todd McShay has heard something. Obviously, he's got a beat on everything that goes on. I don't know about the Anthony Richardson. That's
the big wild card.
That's boggling my mind. I just don't. How many guys has he played? 11 games, something like that. Is that what it was?
About 5 of which were really good, and about 5 of which sucked.
Yeah, the guy is an unbelievably talented guy. He broke every quarterback record at the combine. I could have told you that was going to happen, but and I know he can throw it through a wall, which I didn't have. I couldn't, I didn't. But it's about being accurate in that league, and it's about being able to read the defense. And it's just going to be, I don't know. It's going to be. That's just a wild card that I'm just not sure that I understand right now.
By the way, for the record, if Carolina were to trade with Indy and move down to the 3rd position, Kelly, do you know what that would be?
What's that?
The 3rd Reich.
That's messed up, George.
I saved that just for you.
Well, I already heard that one.
Yeah,
I could have picked that out. If I'd have really thought about that, I could have picked that out for you.
It's dumb, but whatever.
Kelly, did you know George is a Braves fan?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I do.
We're going to be talking.
One of his favorite players, Andrew Jones, they retired his jersey.
Nice. Way to keep up.
Come on now.
I love it.
Well, we've got some negative Braves news to get to, though. They have placed their ace, Max Fried, on the IL with a hamstring strain. He suffered the injury during the 4th inning of Thursday's season-opening win over the Nationals. He threw one warm-up pitch and then walked off the mound toward the clubhouse. So to counteract that, they bring up Bryce Elder.
Who you knew it was just a matter of time. Bryce Elder is going to have to be an important piece of where they are. He's going to be in the minors, not for long.
It ain't going to fly with all these Braves injuries. Yeah.
Max Fried will miss 2 starts, and the Braves just simply need to score a bunch of runs during this period to kind of overcome that, and they did last night. One in St. Louis.
They dominated. You see, what's his name's home run? I'm forgetting his name.
Austin Riley. 473 feet.
Woo. Hey, I got a question. What is the deal with Kyle Wright? I know he hurt his. Does he have to have surgery?
That's a good question. I don't know that he has to go through surgery, but the injury is going to hold him out for a little bit.
I met him in Murfreesboro here. We did a podcast with him at a store, and he seems like a really genuine, really good child, man. He's a good kid. I know that he was at Vanderbilt, obviously, but when I saw that news, I kind of hated that because he was itching to get back to training camp, itching to go back, and I saw where he got injured.
On to Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger Woods. He came out today in a press conference at the Masters and said, I don't know how many more Masters I've got in me. I know more guys on the Champions Tour than I do the regular tour.
Means you're getting old. By the way, I don't know how many more of these I have in me. I mean, just to be honest.
All you do is sit in a chair, though. You don't have to walk the heels of the Masters in Augusta, though, George. You know what I'm saying?
It is a little different, isn't it?
A little bit.
Okay.
George, one more note on the Masters, though. Vandy's Gordon Sargent will tee off at 11:48 local time on Thursday. One of the amateurs there, and one of very few amateurs. So keep an eye on that guy.
Okay, Kelly, here's what we do today on the show. You will meet Watson's grandson, Knoxville sports talk show host Tony Basilio. They were very close. I don't know if the two of you all can bond like that.
Yeah, I hear.
But I'm going to let you kind of start the thing. After I do the intro, you'll get to ask the first questions because I want it to go well.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then at 3:00, Taylor Barnette will join us. We'll really get knee deep into the national title game. And Taylor also has a little cynicism in him.
Good.
So I think you'll like him.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how we get the show started. Kelly's done great so far. He's not the problem. I am. Here's a question. Are you now betting on the NBA? Now that March Madness is over, we're just about a week and a half away from the NBA playoffs. Well, today at Action 24/7, use the promo code George. That's right. I've got a promo code. And get a 300% deposit match up to $20 on your first deposit. Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. Thus, if you have questions, these folks are your neighbors. They want good relations with people around them. So you got questions, call them. You have disputes, let them know it. They'll get back to you quickly. That's one of the advantages of using Action 24/7. So download the app or visit action247.com to start all that winning. And please bet responsibly.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
I know it's getting colder. You're not thinking about golf. However, if you're planning an event for next year, let me suggest golf through Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. It's perfect for hosting a corporate or a charitable outing. They've got everything in place to make your event a rousing success. To get more info, call 615-847-5074 or go online to riversidegolflinks.com.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
We're back, and we're headed to Knoxville to talk with Knoxville sports talk show host Tony Basilio. This will be the first time that Tony has not dealt with his grandfather, Watson Brown, who they hit it off big, Kelly.
I hear you. Told me.
Close.
You've told me.
So, Tony,
yes,
say hello to Kelly Holcomb.
Kelly, how you doing,
the
man?
next 3 months.
Tony, how you doing, man? Good to meet you.
It is an absolute honor to talk to you.
I've heard a lot about you. You have to understand though that George is phony, so I always have to. I'm not sure what to say about that when he tells me things like that.
What have I
see
told
for yourself, so to speak, right? Got to see it for yourself.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
What is it you're trying to play on the guitar?
No, it's a mandolin.
Okay.
And I was playing last night, and I was out playing last night, and I played the wrong thing, and with my group, and I was trying to figure something out during your commercial break. So,
okay, I'm going to let Kelly start this because I want the two of you all to bond and have great chemistry and all that crap. So, Kelly, the floor is yours.
Well, me being a quarterback, obviously we're going to start there. The draft coming up. Hendon Hooker, where is he with his rehab, his ACL? I just want to know where he is.
he's a couple weeks away, I think, from throwing, but it hasn't hurt him in terms of. I think it was Todd McShay had him in the first round today. Which again, guys, I'm gonna go back here. I think it's remarkable. I think it's a remarkable story, and I just find it kind of incredible that we're having this conversation about him. And if that happens, Tennessee probably will have, with their offensive linemen, probably have a couple of first-round picks who, I mean, nobody would have thought that was possible heading into last season. So it's a remarkable story. But, Hendon Hooker, Kelly, the thing about it is that he's a guy who all the intangibles is probably what makes him more valuable than a ton of the physical stuff. I bet if you stack them side by side, there are a ton of people that are, draft eligible that probably have a lot more physical skills, so to speak. I mean, Hendon, you've seen him when healthy, runs like an old man, runs with that old man gait. He looks like me out there trying to play pickleball. And so from that standpoint, there are a lot more what you would call elegant athletes at that position.
Right.
I'm not sure there are better leaders at that position. And it's really a great story after what happened with him with Virginia Tech and matriculating to Tennessee when Jeremy Pruitt was gone one way and he was coming this way, and we couldn't figure out why he was coming. But it's a great story.
Yeah, it seems like a great story. A heck of an athlete. I just think he, like you said, he may not be the best runner, but he picks his opportunities. So I saw where he was going with the Saints today. I think he's going to the Commanders in a couple of days. I know that the Vikings are really interested in him. Where do you think he fits in all this?
I think that's a great question. Here's the thing I've never been able to figure out about the draft. It seems like the organizations don't want to tip their hands, right?
Yep.
So the media has to dig up who's visiting where and how and whom. And these guys are always going to spin, like when George's friend Robinson was in charge of the Titans. You've got to spin your media people. You can't tell people the truth. I can't tell you who I'm really looking at. So, and from that standpoint, the draft's been always been a mystery to me, because each year in the first round, it seems like there are curveballs. And sometimes I wonder if Hooker's being used from that perspective or if he's truly valued. If you were to take a myriad of franchises, though, how many would you guys say have a quarterback that they think will be their quarterback in 5 years? Is that one hand? Is that maybe eight?
Less than
guys?
half?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, way less than half.
Yeah, way less than half.
Way less than maybe 10 guys, maybe 10. And a good example of that, I'm an Eagles fan, so a good example of that is my Eagles last year. Jalen Hurts, a guy that grabbed in the second round, when Carson Wentz, right after he signed a big deal, but they knew that the Eagles knew that Carson, after he got hurt against the Rams, and then he got hurt subsequently the following year against Seattle in the playoffs, they knew this guy was on borrowed time. I mean, that was a good move by them. And you wonder if somebody if he falls, if somebody grabs him that has the luxury late in the first, early in the second, whose name we haven't heard. You just wonder, it's hard to say in terms of where he fits. Look, I mean, I could see him fitting in Washington. There's no question. We just mentioned Carson Wentz. I mean, they've got a hole there. Minnesota has a guy who's in the bottom of the second half tier. They've reached their threshold there with Cousins. the best thing for a Hendon Hooker would be to go to a situation where they give him a couple years to grow and don't throw him out there right away, because at that level, trying to learn that game, the speed of that game, when you're not 1,000%, and I'm talking a good year and a half recovered from what you've gone through, is not, you just don't want to get behind the 8 ball there.
Yeah, this is really funny because I don't know, how long have you been a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
For forever.
Okay, so I got traded to Philadelphia. Do you remember that a long time ago?
Yes.
Okay, so I was traded to Philadelphia with Andy Reid, all those guys. Culley, David Culley was up there. He was my, he was a receiver coach. Pat Shermer was.
He booed you.
Yeah, there's no question he booed me. I didn't make it on the field though, because that's what I'm saying. They didn't think they were going to be able to get a quarterback they wanted. They ended up drafting Kevin Cobb.
Right.
So they had AJ Feely, myself, Kevin Cobb, and then Donovan McNabb.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went up there for all that. I was flying back and forth to Buffalo, and just did not work out, man. I enjoy being around Andy Reid because I think he's a great guy. I really do. The guy, he lives and breathes, eats and sleeps football.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of unbelievable, and that's why he's had the success that he's had. But Jalen Hurts this year, man, he played really well. And I've always been I've always critiqued him when he was at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
When he used to scramble to the right, it tore me up. And you know what? The guy is really a hard worker. You can tell that, we've all heard what he does in the weight room, but he got out there on the practice field and he's learned how to throw the football. He's really good.
Kelly, have you ever seen a guy do that? I've never seen a guy's arm improve. I mean, let's be honest.
He's gotten really good, man. It's a joy to watch him.
It's insane.
I enjoy watching him, man. They're going to be good for a while.
Well, from his rookie year, and then the Titans for some reason gave him A.J. Brown last year. I mean, you don't give away playmakers like that in the NFL. Who does that? You have a contract dispute with a guy, call him in your office, work your deal out with him. Work it out.
Oh, I agree.
You have to work it out. You can't give playmakers away. You have to work that out if you're them. But so they traded because if he would have had the same receiving core he had, which again with Hendon Hooker, with any of these guys, find yourself in the right situation. I was looking at Kurt Warner the other day. I was thinking about his son because I'm from that area.
Yeah.
And Temple's his son's a good little quarterback at Temple. Okay, yeah. Kurt Warner's son. And I was thinking about Kurt Warner, who comes out of the Arena Football Iowa Barnstormer deal. They have a couple guys get hurt in front of him, and all of a sudden he gets an opportunity up there to play for the greatest show on turf. If he would have gone to probably 20 other franchises, you wouldn't have known his name. He would have gotten a couple starts, played behind a bad offensive line with some bad wide receivers, but he was in the perfect spot and launched himself into a Hall of Fame career out of the Arena League, which just goes to show you, I think, that a lot of times, like a guy like you, Kelly, and I'm not blowing smoke at you, and you probably have thought this, but it's about place, it's about opportunity, it's about fit. And the thing about that league that I've noticed is, man, when opportunity comes, you've got to grab it.
You have to.
Because it's so hard to get there for these guys. It's so hard to get there.
It's all about timing. It's really all about timing. I can remember, there's another story. I hope I don't get messed up by George with all these stories, but I can remember when I was with Indianapolis and we went to scrimmage St. Louis and Champaign at the University of Illinois. It was so hot on the field that my cleats melted.
Oh, wow.
But that was when Trent Green was the quarterback, and Peyton and myself, we were sitting over there. We'd done what we were supposed to do, and there was this guy that came in that year, and we're like, I asked Peyton, I'm like, who is that guy? And he was like, it's Kurt Warner. And he was like, he played, I think, in the Arena League, but then, Trent Green gets hurt during that season, and then the rest is history. So it's kind of amazing. When you saw
him in camp, did you see his talent or not really?
He didn't really get much. I mean, he was down there on the goal line. He didn't really get many plays. He handed off the ball, but after that, it's history. Dick Vermeil, he was crying that in that press conference when Trent Green got hurt, but then they go on to win the Super Bowl, which is pretty amazing.
And that's the game. This Heineke guy last year that played for Washington wasn't bad. He wasn't
No,
bad.
he was not. He was not
bad.
And the guys,
guy.
it seemed like the guys loved him. I mean, they
Yeah.
That's what you have to have as a quarterback. You have to be a leader, but you have to have guys just grasp you and want to play for you. And I think that's why I always thought Baker Mayfield, but he's kind of digressed in his, ascension up. I thought he was going to be really good. And then, his first year was okay. And then he's kind of digressed from there. So, hey, let me ask you one more question. Jalen Wyatt, what are you hearing about him?
The wide receiver.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about him. Look, it's wonderful winning the Blitnikoff Award. I look at him and I hear he's a kind of a mid-round guy. The thing about him that I wonder is he physically going to hold up in that game?
Right.
And I think that's a legitimate concern. Look,
he's only 185. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm going to spend that capital that I have to spend at the top of the draft, and I'm talking first or second round. If I'm drafting a first or second round guy, he's got to make an impact for me.
Yeah.
So I'm up. I don't know. I almost like the kid from Vegas that got hurt here last year, who Tillman. And I realize people say, well, he doesn't have the speed and blah, blah, blah. I think guys like him with functional speed, though, I think they work in that league.
Oh, absolutely. He can. He can take the top off of defense. That's for sure. So there's anybody that can run. There's a place for him. So going back to Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
Are you hearing about? I know everybody knows he's got his niece, and I can remember going to the combine, and you got 6 teams around you, and you got all these teams looking at you, and they're prodding on you. And my shoulder had 2 shoulder surgeries, and I'm sitting here, and they're going, does that hurt? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Just squishing. But are you hearing that anybody's kind of thinking about Hendon's injury? How big of an impact will that be with anybody?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, we haven't really heard much in terms of his injury. But you and I both know if somebody really wants him, maybe they plant something in the press on him to try to get other people to stay away from him. See, those are the things that happen when you get like a week out from the draft and you start hearing the whispers. And sometimes it's guys that are, and you hate to say this, okay, agents of other guys that are in the vicinity and they want to knock a guy down a peg. A GM that wants to grab a guy late in the first round who they think is going to be in the middle of the first round, maybe plant a few whispers out there. That's why I always encourage people that really follow the draft to be very careful to think about what you hear and who you're getting it from. Because just because Adam Schefter says something doesn't mean it's true. It means somebody's whispered it in his ear. And that's a far cry to me because I've been spun. George will tell you he's been spun. I mean, we get spun by people.
Absolutely.
It's the nature of this.
Yeah.
And if you're good and you're a GM, you better be spinning people. If you want somebody, you better be spinning people so he falls to you. It goes on all the time.
Kelly, I am very impressed. You have handled this beautifully.
Well, I've got one more question, and it's kind of a funny.
That was 3 questions ago.
It's kind of a funny question.
Okay.
Because I remember Chan Gailey talking about how he was in the pros and he can't believe that he had to teach somebody how to take a snap under center. Does Hendon Hooker know how to take a snap under center?
I think it's a great question. Look, he was asked at the NFL Combine, and he stood on the stage, and they said, your receivers were 15 yards open. He said, I thought the goal was to get the ball to the open receiver.
That's good.
He said, I'm glad my receivers were open.
That's good.
The ball was put to the open receiver on time every time. Hey, look, I look at NFL football today, and I say the college game is no longer producing quarterbacks.
Ugh.
It's not. It's a different game.
Yeah, I didn't have the game that these guys got.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm good, George. Go ahead.
You're done. Okay. Hypothetical, bizarre question.
Yeah.
Tony, there was a point where Tennessee basketball was more ballyhooed this year than UConn. If you took Tennessee at whatever you say was their best, whether it's December, early January.
Yeah.
And you took UConn at its best, which appears to have been in the last 2-3 weeks. How do you think they'd have matched up?
Well, when are we playing the game? When are we playing the game, George? Are we playing it right now?
Let's
playing it in January?
let's say that we're somehow superimposing and playing it now, and
Okay.
Tennessee has Ziegler, and they are on a roll.
If Rick Barnes is coaching, they're losing, because unfortunately for him, it's March. Now, if they play the game in January, Tennessee probably beats them.
Are you not amazed? I mean, UConn lost 6 of 8 at one point, and you're like, none of us thought of them.
Yeah. They've won 5 times a national champion has come from the mid seeds, or four back, and 4 of the 5 it's them.
It's insane.
I mean, what can you say? They won 5 national championships in 9 Sweet 16s, George, and they've got 1 more national championship than Kansas all time.
Yeah.
Let's think about that. Kansas.
In fact, what the hell? Let's put the graphic up. We were going to put it up for Taylor Barnette later.
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
We're not going to put it up at all.
I don't have it yet.
Okay,
I was waiting on Taylor, but
fair enough. So let me try it this way, Tony, and I'm going to ask everybody this question that we have on here for a while. Obviously, the teams that UConn played, none of them got anywhere close. So it's none of them. What team that got knocked out way earlier do you think would have given them the best battle?
Boy, it's a really great question, because, see, I do a podcast with a couple of degenerate gamblers, okay? And we call the thing winners and losers. And they, at the outset of the tournament, said in their mind, the 2 best teams in the tournament in terms of talent were Creighton, who took December off.
Oh, absolutely.
They kind of did what UConn did, only they took December off.
Forgot to tell anybody.
And then UConn, who took a good skid of January off. Both of those guys bought futures on both teams. They were telling me, and this was going into the tournament. The debate they had about UConn was, can Danny Hurley lead them to a championship? The question was, can he coach well enough in the moment? George, I would have to say that Houston team was probably the problem they had, though. I don't know if they could score with those guys. I mean, they were so much better than everybody else. Danny Hurley's coaching never even came into
play.
Nothing was close.
Mm-mm.
They hammered everybody.
Mark Griffin, I asked Mark that question earlier today. He went with Texas.
Texas is a good one.
Yeah. It's a remarkable story.
Yeah.
Not just the fact that a 4 seed won it all, but the way they did. I mean, the only challenge that was out there, I'll admit, if the kid, Billy helped me, the really good shooter at UConn,
Jordan Hawkins.
If Hawkins doesn't hit the 3 when they're up only 5, then some people's deodorants may have stopped working.
That was the dagger.
That was that's the only time there was really any challenge.
I thought that the women's Final Four was as compelling as the men's this year. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I don't know. Talk about this. Caitlin Clark is crazy how good she is at what she does. And I'm not a women's basketball person. I'm just not.
Would you buy that she's the Pistol Pete Maravich of the women's side? Maybe a little bit.
I grew up as an old school hockey fan, and she's young Wayne Gretzky on that women's basketball floor. She sees And some of these people, it's like, I think it's a level of intelligence to be able to see the floor like that. And she just sees things before they happen. The way she passes the ball around, she does things out there that, I mean, people aren't capable of doing. I want to share a stat with you guys. So, because one of my guys shared this with me on the show today. You know, we always hear about defense, right? Texas defense, Alabama's defense this year, Houston's defense.
San Diego
Everyone
State.
makes a big deal. San Diego State's defense. 23 of the past 27 national champions. The team with a higher offensive efficiency than defensive efficiency has won the national championship. And it's happened 8 seasons in a row now. The last team that had a higher defensive efficiency that won was UConn.
Wow.
8 years ago. So I guess what I'm saying is that buyer beware when it comes to these defensive first, Rick Barnes oriented, turnaround. You got to be able to score in March, George. That's my moral of my story that I take away from all this is when I need a basket. And I love Watson Brown to death, and I love the him and Barnes and the love fest and the love affair and the thing with his brother down there, and he knows, and I get all that. But you have to be able to score.
And that probably means you better know who you're going to get that score.
Exactly.
So before we end this, tell people now that football and basketball are done for a few months on your end, where they can find you and what kind of specialty programming are you doing?
Sure. So we're at tclub.team. Right now, we're in the season of the year where we're tracking that transfer portal in hoops. We're talking some spring ball. Today, we talked about the breaking story regarding the fact that Tennessee, in a week and a half, is going to have to go up to Indianapolis for a hearing over the football mess that Jeremy Pruitt and Philip Fulmer left behind for the current regime to clean up. They were hoping to stay out of NCAA court. It doesn't look like that's going to be. Ross Dellinger broke that story today. We had Adam Sparks on responding to it, and Adam had done some work for like an hour, and he came on with us, and we discussed it this afternoon. Not good when you have to go in front of those folks because you never know what's going to happen. So we try to just stay on top of everything here. And then, there's our side issues, but tclub.team's my website. We update a blog there every day and are looking forward to the warm weather, George, and getting out and watching some baseball. I'm excited that I wish my Phillies would join the baseball season.
It's been a little slow,
George.
Been a little slow early, yes.
Yes.
Just remember this. When the NCAA invites you to their place, it's never for lunch.
That's a great line.
There are no the free lunch program is over. When you get up there, they put you in a jail cell.
That's right.
You would hate that, Joe.
Yes.
Well, the last time there was a free lunch program here, Jeremy Pruitt's wife and his babysitter were handing out Chick-fil-A bags with money in them. So that's not recommended.
I believe it. Thanks for doing this, as always.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Nice meeting you, Kelly.
He's the best.
Thank you, guys.
Tony Basilio, longtime Knoxville sports talk show host. After the break, we'll get Kelly to respond to some new news out of the NFL that makes you wonder, stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Jody Jones has as nice a dental facility as you'll find anywhere. Let's go in and take a look.
Are you in the market for a new dentist? Maybe you're new to Nashville? Well, the place to go is Jody Jones Dentistry at 55 Music Square East, and their new facility is absolutely state-of-the-art. Jody mixes quality with comfort for the perfect dental experience. He's trusted for his creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile. Jody is simply the total package. Don't wait. Make an appointment now at 615-259-5100.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to AlacoFineWoodFloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Welcome back to the beautiful Fordyce Center in Bellevue, which is our new permanent home. Kelly Holcomb filling in for Watson Brown for the next 3.5 months. And so we're going to take advantage of his skill set, which obviously is also football driven. He spent 14 years in the National Football League. And one of the features that we will have will be, and it's a silly name, but Kelly Holcomb's World of Football that we'll do every Monday and Wednesday. And Kelly, I know people are going to breathlessly await this thing.
Oh, I'm sure. I get to ask the questions, right? Do I ask the questions?
No, what you do is you basically come up with topics that you and I are going to talk about, things that are important to you.
That'll be interesting.
Blow me off. That's fine.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. But I want to sort of pick your brain a little bit about a story that's gotten out. This big kid, Jalen Carter, from Georgia. Looked like he was going to be the number one pick in the draft, and then obviously there had been problems off the field. Now comes word in the last, 36 hours that he and the agent have decided to kind of get snooty about it and basically say, we're only going to teams that are in the top 10 in the draft. When you heard that, what did you think of? What was your opinion of that?
Well, first of all, I didn't have that much leverage as he's got, obviously. He's had a rough offseason. I mean, started with the crash where, a young man that it was his teammate was killed. It looked like he was racing. All that started. And then in his workout, he only wanted to do position workouts, and he was breathing really heavy. He came in overweight. He played, I think, at 314. He weighed 323, so he's 9 pounds overweight. Barely made it through the workout. So, I mean, when you hear things like that, when they're talking about him, not wanting to go to certain teams and only inviting a certain few to his hometown is what I'm hearing. So you're getting a little big for your britches, especially how you perform so far. And, them talking about you being the number one pick of the draft and now it's sliding down. But when you read everything, George, he's still the top defensive lineman in the draft.
Yeah.
And people can say all this they want to, and these teams are not happy with him, and these teams. But when it boils down to it, he's the best defensive tackle in the draft. So just like Tony said, you'll hear a lot of stuff, and you'll hear a lot of stuff about a week before the draft, and then when it boils down to it, nobody cares because the dude can play. I mean, if you watch him, if you watch his highlight tape and some of the things that he can do, I mean, he's really good with his hands. He's got quick hands. He can get guys off of him. I was looking at some stuff this morning, and they were talking about, the only weakness that he has is he's slow off the ball. It's not that he's slow off the ball, but he waits for the ball to be snapped because he don't want to be offside. So some guys do that. And, when you're a talent like he is and you can get away with stuff like that and you got good hand placement, you're strong. I think he's got to get stronger because he's going to meet guys in the NFL that are really, really, really strong and have got good feet on the O-line. So he's going to have to work. But, all these things that they're talking about now, I've seen over and over my career in the National Football League where they can talk all they want to, but it really don't matter when it comes down to it. They want a guy that can play, and he can play.
Okay, let me ask this, though. It's one thing for the kid right now to cop an attitude.
Yeah.
You said, and I think I can quote, he's gotten a little big for his britches, which have been silver.
Yeah.
But if you're the agent, don't you have to be the one smart enough to say, hey, let's tone down the attitude a tad?
Well, it's just like today's society, George. I mean, these agents want these kids and they want to sign these kids and they want to represent these kids and they don't want to make these kids mad. I didn't have an agent like that. And my agent was an old Bronx guy from New York. He lives out in California now. He told me like it was, but I haven't been around that realm for 15 years now. I know my agent was, but I know some of the things that he's told me about the way the game has changed. I mean, those guys gave me a couple of footballs and a brand new pair of shoes. Now they have to put like $40,000 aside where you've got to pay for a kid's training. You got to pay for him a place to stay. You got to give him some transportation. You got to feed him. So if you are not going to get drafted in the first, second, third, fourth is kind of getting, if you're not drafted in the first, second, third round, a lot of guys are not going to take you because you're not going to make your money back off those guys. Free agent, and they get free agent, they're not going to get any money. So you never know. But the way that society is right now, agents are trying to appease these kids because if they make them mad, they're going to go get somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes on. I know that my agent like told me how it was and told me what to expect. And he didn't give a, he's a New Yorker. He didn't give a flip,
He didn't kiss your butt.
That's right. He would
Yes.
tell you. So if it would be in the best interest of the kid if he was told that, but I don't know what goes on now with these agents.
So you know about stat of the day.
You've told me about stat of the day. Yes.
Okay. Well, get ready because it's coming up.
Okay.
And I'll tell you up front, it's designed to make you and me look
silly.
stupid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
most of the time they succeed with it.
That's not
Stat
hard.
of the day. And then Taylor Barnette will join us from somewhere up in East Tennessee. I know we're going to do this one by phone. Stick around. This is the George Plaster Show.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you. This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general. Baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's now time for Stat of the Day. Kelly Holcomb's first Stat of the Day appearance. No pressure on Kelly at all. It is brought to you by the great folks at John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. Give them a call at 931-492-4304 or go see them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open Tuesday through Friday, noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. So go check them out there in Shelbyville. All right, let's check out stat of the day now.
Okay, hold on. What Kelly and I both want you to understand is that we have the right to talk through this before we give you a final answer. We don't want that gong.
Of course.
You like to do that from time to time. In fact, go ahead and hit that thing so Kelly knows exactly. Yeah, see that thing. I feel like Reggie Miller's about to do a Wendy's commercial.
Well, let's see if we have to use the gong at all in this question.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, Dan Hurley became the fourth coach in NCAA history to enter the tournament with 2 or fewer career tournament wins and go on to win a title. Can you name the other 3 coaches?
Woo.
That's a loaded question.
My Lord.
Good, great. Yeah, I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Are you serious, Billy?
Okay, so I present the stat of the day. David, our other producer here, has given us today's stat of the day.
Right. Okay, let's ask a couple of hints here. Is this a really difficult question? Because it sure as hell seems to be.
There are some big names in there.
There are some big names in there. Became the fourth to enter with 2 or fewer.
Couple won a national championship as well. Went on some miracle runs. Keyword miracle.
Okay.
For one of them.
Let's start with Bobby Knight. Yeah, whatever.
What about Bill Self?
That is incorrect as well. You want to hit the gong? Go ahead. I know you're dying to.
Yeah, whatever. Nice attitude. 2 or fewer wins, but go on to win it all. Would Denny Crum be in there? Whatever.
Think of a younger coach, pretty recent. That might.
Kelly, wouldn't Jim Valvano fit that?
There we go.
Let's go, Valvano.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Okay, that's one.
One
that's
out of
good.
3.
That's beautiful. 33%. Great on the curve. It can work.
One of them is within the last 10 years. It might follow a UConn
Kelly,
game.
I think it would be Kevin Ollie. I was about to say that.
That's correct as well.
So Kevin Ollie would be
that's a good guess right there. That was good.
Okay.
This other one is interesting.
This other one is interesting.
He was in attendance at the game last night.
Oh, Kelly, it's got to be Fisher, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Steve Fisher.
Would you have gotten any of those without our hands?
No. But see, a lot of people forget, Kelly, I don't know if you remember this. Steve Fisher had been the coach at Michigan.
Right.
And I'm trying to think what the circumstances were where he went to Bo Schembechler. I don't know if he told him that he was getting another job or what, but Schembechler threw him out and said, "You're not a Michigan man. Get the hell out of here."
Oh, wow. I can see that.
Well, I take it back. It was not Fisher. Fisher got put in
because of that.
Because a coach at Michigan did that.
Yeah.
I just don't remember who it is. So Valvano, Fisher, Kevin Ollie.
Interesting group.
Wow. Kelly.
Yeah, I would have never got those. I might have gotten Kevin Ollie, but the other 2, no clue.
Ollie is the one that's been forgotten in some NCAA scandal stuff.
That's right.
Apparently he made a lot of money too.
He may have.
I saw where he got like $3.9 million. So
good for him.
Okay, Kelly, you got your first taste of stat of the day, so I'll make it a little easier for you tomorrow. Let's go.
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
Give him a couple of NFL ones. Get his self-esteem up a little bit. Although I'll be honest, I don't sense that self-esteem is a big problem.
No, I don't know about the stat of the day though. I'm not great with those things, but I do know this. Jim Valvano and Steve Fisher, we could have been here all night, and I would have never guessed those.
Listen, we could have been here till tomorrow. It wasn't going to happen. So, all are we now officially into the 3 o'clock hour?
We are 3:06 to
and
be exact.
Officially, who would we be talking to?
We would be talking to Taylor Barnette.
He joins us?
Not quite yet.
Oh, not quite yet. What seems to be the issue?
Still working on it, George.
But Kelly, I think we've been fed a load of bull.
George, what are you paying these guys for? I mean,
I don't know.
Seems
Good
like
gracious.
Billy had not made the phone call yet. So,
oh wow,
Oh,
I
listen
got
to
a
David
little-
turning state's evidence.
George, how's the Ford Ice Center? Is it nice? Is it
It's
everything
beautiful.
you expected? Everything you expected?
Oh, listen, you need to come in here one day and see this place. This is, I think, between the Predators, city government, Metro Parks and Recreations, man, have they done this thing right.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a nice stall, by the way, that you did.
Kelly's already learning.
Uh-huh.
We got Taylor Barnette.
Do we really? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Let's see where he is. Taylor, where in the state might you be?
George, what's going on? I am on my way back from Chattanooga to Nashville. I'm about in between. I think I'm somewhere near Winchester.
Near Winchester, Tennessee. Okay. Can we rule out a coaching interview?
Do what? Yes,
Can we-
yes. Yes. You can rule out a coaching interview.
Okay. So obviously you know exactly where we're going, and I've got some really interesting questions for you. You ready?
Wow, okay. I'm ready.
What team that got knocked out early would have given UConn the best battle?
That's a good question. You know what? Last night I texted somebody. I think I said I would have liked to seen Alabama be playing UConn right now. I think that would have been a heck of a game. The pace would have been incredible. Both teams like to play fast. Both teams have rim protectors and size and shooters. I feel like Alabama's the closest to a most complete team as UConn. I mean, as UConn, I watched them more in the tournament. I felt like they lacked nothing. But I think I would have liked to seen Alabama.
So how did they lose 6 out of 8 at one point?
You know, I think that just speaks to the season of how long and how hard college basketball can be, and that every game matters, and that you go through these lulls in seasons sometimes. You know, I remember at Louisville, our best team, we were preseason top 5 in the country and at number 1 at one point. And you go through some adversity, you know, maybe a couple tweaked ankles here and there, or, you know, guys are tired or there's long weeks and teams are really good. So every game is tough. So I just think that when you're in a league like the Big East that's really good, sometimes you lose close games and you have droughts during the season.
The kid's name again that hit the 3?
Jordan
Billy.
Hawkins.
Okay. If Hawkins doesn't hit the 3 when San Diego State had cut it to 5, Taylor, was this about to get hairy for UConn?
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, you look at the start of the game, and it's like San Diego State punches them in the mouth, come out hot, come out firing. And then it's just like UConn just keeps doing what they do, and San Diego State can't keep up. I just feel like San Diego State can't score with those guys. And I think that was evident last night. So I think that, you know, if that Jordan Hawkins didn't hit that 3, you know, who knows what happens, but I just don't see it. I don't see it going the other way completely.
So it's one thing that they, you know, made the run as a 4 seed to win it all. Taylor, it's a totally different story, the fact that they obliterated the field. I mean, they appear to be, I don't know, 12 to 15 points better than anybody. How do we explain that?
Yeah, I agree with you, George. I think that they got better as the year went on. I think that they were during the NCAA tournament just clicking on all cylinders, and they have every piece to the puzzle. They lack nothing in terms of basketball. I mean, they have experience, they have size, they've got a big in Sunogo. It was ducking in everybody and just making layups in the tournament. And they ran great sets for him. They run really good stuff on offense. They've got great guards. They've got a guy like Andre Jackson, who's the ultimate glue guy, does everything for him. I just feel like they were the best team, and they proved that.
Did you at all think that going in?
I knew how good they were. I did not think they would win the national championship, or I didn't even have them in my Final Four. But that's the thing about it is, there's so many different capable teams out there that can win it. And, I mean, you look at how they started the year out. I think they started out the year 14-0. Obviously, they hit that little midseason in the Big East lull where they lost 6 of 8. But, I mean, you look at the roster and you're like, yeah, they had 1 through 5, or really they're 1 through 9. They're really good.
So I want to toss it out this way and see where you go with it. Over the years, as I have watched both Bobby Hurley and Dan Hurley, here's what I've thought. When I watch Bobby Hurley, he's just all over the place. He just looks like a total wreck. I'm not saying he can't coach, but at times I worry about he's up here, then he's down here. His emotions are all over the place. He's on officials like crazy. When I've watched Dan Hurley in the past, I've seen a guy that is all over the map, looks very emotional, at times looks out of control. And all of a sudden during this tournament, Taylor, I see a totally different Dan Hurley that I really like. Do you think I'm being accurate with that, or is that it? Tell me what you think.
That's interesting you bring that up. I think you're accurate in that. I noticed that as well. The word that comes to mind when I was watching him coach in this tournament was poise. And I wouldn't have used that word to describe him on the sidelines, a couple years ago. And I don't know, where that comes from, maybe a mentor or, obviously he comes from a coaching family, a basketball family, or, that's an area it looks like that he's really taken a step in. And it really has, it seems to have brought a calm presence to his team. And maybe it has something to do with his team. There's just this level of trust that he has with his guys that just allows him to have this sort of peace on the sidelines because he feels so confident in his guys. But I think you're very accurate in saying that.
In fact, if I was going to use one of my favorite words, I would have said basket case. When I would watch him over the last 2 or 3 years, he looked like a basket case. And all of a sudden I saw a calm and a peace about him that I had never seen before. Let's put up the graphic here real quickly. This win last night by UConn has gotten them into some really rarefied air. UCLA, mostly because of the John Wooden era, leads everybody with 11 national titles. Kentucky is second with 8. North Carolina with 6. Duke, Indiana, and now UConn with 5. Kansas with 4. Villanova with 3. Now, I heard a lot of talk last night, Taylor, that this is the beginning of a real run by UConn. Do you buy that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dan Hurley is going to have a lot of success there. Him and his staff have done a great job since they've been there. I mean, I think they had a losing record their first season there. They've continued to get better, and in year 4, they won a national championship. Now, to say that they're just going to go on a run and win 2 to 3 national championships in 4 or 5 years, I mean, that no matter how good they are, that's still really hard to do. Do I think that this is going to spur UConn into being a top 3, top 4 seed for the next few years to come? Yes. I think that they're going to be a force in the Big East. I think that they're going to be hard to deal with when it comes to the NCAA tournament. I don't see this being a roller coaster ride where this year they win a national championship, next year they miss the tournament, and then they come back. I just think that this is going to breed some consistency where UConn is back to being a powerhouse.
Let me try it a different way. Should they be the favorite going into next season to win it all?
Golly, I haven't thought about different teams and who all they have back, but it depends on their roster. I mean, look, you got over 1,200 kids in the transfer portal right now, and you got teams that are building rosters, and I have no idea. It's hard to say that they'd be the favorite. I don't know who at this point on their team is going to stay and who's going to go. I really can't answer the question.
No, you've given an honest answer, and it's sad that we really can't give a better answer a day after, because you just don't know anymore what's going on behind the scenes. What I do know is, man, I like those two big kids that they had. That little twin tower that they were putting out there, it's pretty good.
You're not wrong. They were unbelievable. Sanogo is just a complete all-around big man. He might not have an NBA career, I don't know, but he was unbelievable inside, and his timing on his post-ups and the way he makes jump hooks, and he was even blocking shots. And then they bring in the 7-footer, Klingen, who's blocking shots, catching lobs, and dunking the ball. That's a big-time 1-2 punch down low.
So are you aware that Watson has taken a 3-month sabbatical?
I am not aware, no.
Okay, so you're about to deal with Kelly Holcomb, and since you know nothing about football, I'm going to clue you in a little bit. Kelly played 14 years in the National Football League as a quarterback, went to MTSU, very cynical, likes to take shots at me. So I think the two of you will get along beautifully.
Wow.
Taylor, how you doing?
Kelly, I'm good, man. It sounds like we got a lot in common, man.
Yeah, it's easy to make fun of George, especially if you weren't on the you're calling in today, but if you actually saw him, you could make fun of him as well. It looks like he's been in the gym. It looks like he goes to 24-hour fitness every day and works out.
Wow. What a guy. What's he wearing today? Is he wearing one of those 1989 polos?
Oh, well, it's Knights of the Round Table. You don't understand.
It's a polo.
Well, let you tell it's polo, but they've got Knights of the Round Table as well.
It's just an old polo.
George came to Murfreesboro. George came to Murfreesboro the other day. We were trying to get some people that were interested in the show, and he had a Music City Bowl pullover on. And I'm like, can you at least wear something else, George?
Yeah, man. He loves that Music City gear, man.
Taylor, I advise you to be very careful with any comments about my clothing based on some of your past history.
Okay.
We'll go to the break on that, and then you and Kelly Holcomb can take some cheap shots at me. As we go to the break, let's talk a little Action 24/7. NCAA March Madness is over. We're a little more than a week away from the NBA playoffs. Are you betting on them? Well, today at Action 24/7, use the promo code George, not Kelly, not Watson, but George, and get a 300% deposit match up to $20 on your first deposit. Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. That's right. If you got questions, these are good folks. They can help you. They're your neighbors located right here in Tennessee. So download the app or visit action247.com to start all that NBA playoff winning. And remember, please bet responsibly.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to Strike and Spare. I know it's getting colder. You're not thinking about golf. However, if you're planning an event for next year, let me suggest golf through Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. It's perfect for hosting a corporate or a charitable outing. They've got everything in place to make your event a rousing success. To get more info, call 615-847-5074 or go online to riversidegolflinks.com.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Well, this ought to be interesting. Kelly, as we welcome everybody back, that's Kelly Holcomb. He'll be with us for the next 3.5 months. Do you know anything about basketball?
I know a lot about basketball. I grew up playing basketball.
Did
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah,
So did I.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to have taken your butt.
George, I would have stomped you to
That would
death.
have been a fun matchup.
No, it certainly would have been.
I would have stomped George to death. I promise y'all.
You need to check in with some of the people I used to play with at the Green Hills Y.
George, I see you now, and there's no athlete ever been inside there.
No, look, it was not great athleticism. Okay, I didn't win anything off athleticism, but guile, brains, smarts.
You didn't have footwork like Kevin McHale, Hoss. I promise.
I had
No, you didn't.
footwork.
No.
I had footwork. So what do you got for Taylor?
Well, I just want to know. I talked to George before. I enjoyed watching that game last night because you got two teams that are very unselfish. And in today's world, you see all this selfishness, you see all this NIL, you see the transfer portal. How do those coaches get those guys to play unselfish basketball and to understand that, hey, if we play as a team, we got a chance to win this thing? How do they get that done in today's society?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. I think it's getting kids to understand that they need each other and that winning is fun. You know, winning matters. And, to go to the next level, a huge part of what NBA guys want to know is how's their character and can they win? Ultimately that's what at the highest level, what everybody wants to do is can they win and do they add value in terms of winning? So, I think it's getting guys to buy into their role. I think one thing I heard this year that was really profound, I think Lenny Acuff told me this. He's the head coach of Lipscomb. He said, role definition is easy, but the harder part is role acceptance. And the teams that have role acceptance are the really good ones. And I thought that was really wise because it's easy to define guys' roles, but getting them to buy in to those roles is the harder part. And those two teams last night had role acceptance, no doubt about it.
That would have been amazing to be able to coach guys that you could tell San Diego State, they just don't have the firepower to stay with UConn. But, man, they play really good defense. They're tough. They never quit. They never give up. And it's a credit to the coaches. Now, I was watching this morning. Everybody's talking about blue bloods. That's the phrase. And I just didn't understand why UConn has not been considered a blue blood up until now. I mean, they won 4 national championships and last night made their 5th one. But, you think about Villanova. Villanova's only got 3, but everybody thinks they're a blue blood. Why has UConn not been in the same status as all these other teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, in the glory days of the Big East when Jim Calhoun was there, and I think that they would have considered themselves a blue blood then. And then you go through some conference changes and coaching changes, and you're trying to right the ship. And I feel like that now has happened. People can say what they want, blue bloods or whatever. I mean, who really cares at the end of the day? It's like, we're going to do the best we can. We're going to do everything we can to put our guys in a position to win. And I think that's what UConn has done over the course of the last few years, and obviously it's paid off.
You see San Diego State, you see Florida Atlantic. No number one seeds made the, I don't think, did they make the Sweet 16? Or I know they didn't make the Elite Eight, right? No number one seeds made the Elite Eight, right?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of the ones that made the Sweet 16. I believe that Alabama got beat in the Sweet 16, or was that the Elite Eight? I think it was the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Sweet 16. San Diego State.
Yeah.
So it was the Elite Eight.
I remember watching that one.
So
I think you're right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So with all these, because FAU was really good. My daughter's fiance was, he played at MTSU and was talking about how FAU is really good. Is this just kind of a deal where this just happened this year, or with all this transfer portal stuff and all that, are we going to start seeing teams like a San Diego State make the championship game, a Florida Atlantic, all these teams that really nobody knows of make a run at this thing? Is that going to start happening on a regular basis, or you think that's just a one-hit wonder?
I could probably make an argument for both ways. It could happen. It could be a consistent thing. With the transfer portal, I think that there's some really, really talented, young, high major kids that are at a Kansas or at a blue blood, like you said, that didn't get as much playing time as they wanted to, and they're not going to wait their time and transfer somewhere else where they think they're going to be a star and end up being a star there. There's definitely going to be some of that. I think there's going to be some guys that are crazy talented and end up at a place that, is more of a mid-level school. So there's definitely more chances of an FAU, I think, making a Final Four. But before this, I mean, you think about it. I mean, Butler made back-to-back Final Fours. You got Loyola Chicago. So I think that's just the nature of the NCAA tournament, is that there's always a Cinderella story, and that's why people love it. So I think it's easy to look at and say, oh, this is going to happen more, but at the same time, you look at history, it's already happened prior to the portal.
I got you. So I'm a football guy, you're a basketball guy. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal? What, good for the game, bad for the game? What's your thoughts?
I started out in Virginia, and I transferred, and I sat out a year and played at Belmont, and I don't regret it one bit. I'm super grateful for my decision. But my thoughts are this is, I think it's right that if a coach leaves a school or, takes another job, that team, the kids that committed and signed to play for that coach, I think that they should have the opportunity to leave if they want to. I think that would have probably been the right first step in this process versus just opening up the floodgates. And I don't know why they had to do football and basketball the same. In football, you've got position coaches and you've got a lot of guys on the team. In basketball, you don't. I don't know why they made it all the same. I like the corrections that they've made lately in terms of second transfer rules and making that waiver much more strict, so that at least coaches and programs can know if a freshman transfers after their freshman year, they're going to have them for 3 years at least until maybe they grad transfer. So that's kind of the thoughts that come to my mind right now.
I got you. I got one last question. I know George is chomping at the bit, so I got one last question. Daughter plays at Lipscomb. She heard some things. What happened to North Carolina this year? That team goes to the national championship game last year. They don't lose a guy. Same guy's back. What went on? Was there something in the locker room? Was it over something? Did they come back for the wrong reasons? Just hanging out in college, wanting some NIL money. What happened at North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I will say they did lose somebody. They lost Brady Manick, and Brady Manick was a key role in that team last year. I mean, I had the scout both times against North Carolina last year, and Brady Manick was my number one concern because he's 6'9", he's super experienced, and he can shoot the three at above 40%. And he's a matchup nightmare. And so I do think that losing him, his leadership, his experience, and his ability to shoot the ball and spread the floor really hurt their team not having him this year. But I also think there's a little bit of a couple guys been in college for a few years. I mean, Armando Bacot's coming back again. I'm like, man.
Wow.
So I just think there could be locker room issues. There's so much speculation, but I do know for a fact that losing Brady Manick really hurt them.
Gotcha. George, you got it.
Oh, no question I do. Taylor, we have had a lot of fun talking basketball with you this year. And as good as your information has been, truthfully, the highlight was that backdrop that you put up of me. That was hilarious.
Man, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really appreciative for you having me on and talking hoops, which I love to do. But it's been great camaraderie. The backdrop, that'll be a good memory for years to come.
Listen, from time to time, we'll reach out to you to talk a little basketball. Obviously, we were doing it on a weekly basis, but know that I'll reach out from time to time, and very appreciative that you would consider doing this. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tell Ross Boss I said hello.
Will do, no doubt.
That, by the way, is Taylor's dad. We'll go to the break. Kelly, do you know what's coming?
No, I'm sure you're going to tell me, though.
Yes. Plaster Bet of the Day.
Oh.
Which has been a promotion where I have hung tougher than anybody saw coming. There's been a standard of excellence that people have noticed.
Yeah,
You'll notice it after the break.
I bet.
Yeah, sure you will. Stick around.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Jody Jones has as nice a dental facility as you'll find anywhere. Let's go in and take a look.
Are you in the market for a new dentist? Maybe you're new to Nashville? Well, the place to go is Jody Jones Dentistry at 55 Music Square East, and their new facility is absolutely state-of-the-art. Jody mixes quality with comfort for the perfect dental experience. He's trusted for his creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile. Jody is simply the total package. Don't wait. Make an appointment now at 615-259-5100.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Welcome back in. Final segment on a Tuesday. Kelly Holcomb's first show. We'll see how George does with Bet of the Day tonight. We'll react to last night. Sponsor, Bart Durham Injury Law. They are lawyers you can trust. Give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, George, let's check out what happened last night. UConn, that bet hit.
Darn tootin' it did.
And the over hit.
Oh, barely.
I was keeping track of that over.
You know, with 10 minutes left in the game, that had no chance.
No.
But all of a sudden, San Diego State had to do a lot of fouling. Kelly, look at this. So since this show started, we've done 300 bets because on weekends we'll do 4 or 5. It's crazy. 150 and 150.
That's not bad, George. That's not bad.
I'm hanging tough.
Yeah, you're hanging. You're hanging in there. 150, 150. I don't think I could do any better.
So for a little while now, it's going to get weird because there's nothing on the college level. So I'm having to go to the pros, and this is what I'm going with tonight. I'm taking...
Sorry, George, no graphic, actually.
No graphic. Wow.
So you will have to, I guess we'll just marvel at your results.
Yeah.
And you're paying them for what, George?
Kelly, that's a really good question. But if you'll notice, none of this seems to be on David. He threw Kelly under the bus earlier, which I really enjoyed. You did too, didn't you?
I've been thrown on the bus a bunch,
Yeah.
so I got big shoulders.
Anyway, we're going the Chicago Bulls at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Bulls -3 at home against the Hawks. But we're going to have to start with all the college stuff over. We're going to get some Major League Baseball. We'll definitely get some NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Kelly, just get ready because you'll marvel at how good I am at this.
That's very average so far.
Very average, 500.
Hey,
Okay.
does Jordan still play for the Bulls?
No, it's not. No, but you can see him in a theater near you starting, I think, tomorrow.
Oh, really?
That movie comes out.
What is it? Tell me again.
The movie is about the company, Nike.
Nike. Yeah, that's right.
Air Jordan.
Yeah.
Air Jordan. Yeah.
So, okay, your first day is about over. Tell me what you think.
I enjoyed it. I like it. I mean, I think you. I've told you do a really good job, which it pains me to kind of say that.
I know that.
I mean, you're just the face, which you have a face for radio. It's looking like I have a face for radio as well. But the guys behind the scenes are the one that's keeping you afloat. There's no question.
So you think basically on my own, this is toast?
You could probably you'd be average. You'd be 150 and 150. You know.
I happen to agree with you. Let's do this again tomorrow. On the show tomorrow, we're going to go to one of your old stomping grounds. A lot like radio stations of mine, you have a few.
Yeah.
We're going to Indy tomorrow to find out what the Colts are really thinking. Is it Will Levis who seems to have taken a big
he's falling.
dive off?
Yeah, he's falling. What's going on?
Yeah. He's taken a dive off the cliff, apparently.
Yes.
Apparently his interviews have been awful.
Yeah, which I wonder if he's gone in, told him I am the greatest. I don't know.
When he's on the commercial, he's got a cannon for an arm. So I mean,
he did let people know that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. Mark McGee will join us to talk some Predator hockey. We will have the first installment of Kelly Holcomb's World of Football.
Yes.
God. It has sponsors.
Yes.
My God, what
could have got you more sponsors as well.
Well, feel free to do that.
There's a bunch.
Feel free. And then what else? Oh, we have a big announcement tomorrow.
Okay.
A broadcast announcement. Here's the good news. It has nothing to do with you.
Good. I thought you was already giving me a raise after one day. I'd be like, okay, George, I'm in.
Hold on. I think these two have a reaction to the raise thing.
Yeah, I might want one soon.
Really? David, how about you?
Hey, Billy, do you need me to be your agent? Because I can leverage things, dude. I know how to do it.
Yeah, I need all the leverage I can get.
David, would you like a raise?
That would sound nice as well.
How long have you been here?
A month.
A month. Damn God. We're out of here.
See ya.
Who knows if these two will be back tomorrow? Kelly, you and I will be here, but the problem is if at least one of them's gone, we may be gone too.
We're in trouble.
See you tomorrow.
See you.